What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for taking time to stop by and pop in for some news. Wow, what a crazy market. It seems like just over the past couple of days, felt like we were having some upward momentum, felt like all of our favorite projects and companies were starting to do well again, and what has happened, it seems that Bitcoin has decided to go down. So wanted to dig a little further though, because on this channel we like to talk about and look at companies that are going to we're not really focused on just the short term. Yes, it's important, but long term we're more focused on, well, what's happening with the space? How are larger macroeconomic factors at play here? How is that impacting where things are? So, obviously right now a lot of what's factoring into, the Bitcoin, Ethereum price is just what's going on with inflation, also with the Federal Reserve and interest rates going into next year. What's going to happen? When are we going to have these rate hikes and all of that? So I've got a couple of articles here to share. Wanted to give you some updates as well on AllianceBlock. We've talked about that because I do believe one of the key partners, one of the key pieces rather, in this whole centralized versus decentralized debate and infrastructure is going to be, well, what companies are going to be at the forefront of that. And so I think a lot of that is tied together. So kind of getting into, I got a couple of articles here from Crypto News, how global economy might affect Bitcoin, Ethereum, and crypto in 2022. So I bring this up because I definitely, like I said, I like to look at things macro. I might not be the best at the super small details of things, but macro wise, I like to see how different things all play together. So going into that, crypto assets will benefit more from inflation than other assets. The crypto market has had one of its best years on record, largely has the global macroeconomic environment to thank for this because of rising inflation. At the same time, here's the thing, what's going to get us from our total crypto market cap, 2.2 trillion. What's going to get us from that $2.2 trillion market cap to, we're 10, 20, 50, 100 trillion, $200 trillion is going to be institutional adoption. So you can see here, at the same time, institutional investors have also been led by the same basic motivation to convert portions of their portfolios into crypto assets. So that's what you're seeing is through the numerous all-time highs from 2021 was that people were converting big chunks of their portfolio, but it's still such a small amount. So they're saying here, analysts also expect to see rising interest rates, we talked about, into next year, but that is going to potentially, they're saying could potentially, depress crypto assets. And I think if nothing else, that inflation is only going to make people seek other asset classes like crypto. And also too, you see right here, inflationary pressures continuing into 2022, the knock-on effects of policies, fiscal largesse via stimulus checks, and tremendously expansionist monetary policy are at work. So the thing is, like, having another indicator here that you want to pay attention to is that, you see here, I reckon oil prices will head back lower as supply increases from both the OPEC group and producers elsewhere, including the U.S. The biggest thing is just, watching how institutions still, even if inflation is going to continue to be a problem through 2022, which probably will, institutions are still going to be seeking ways to, okay, if that's definitely the problem, then how does DeFi come into play? How can DeFi help our portfolios grow more where we're not actually being subjected to negative interest rates? Because if inflation is almost 7% and effective real interest rates are pretty much at zero, well, we pretty much have a net interest rate, net negative interest rate, where it's like almost you're being punished you're disincentivized to the point of not even wanting to hold cash. So we definitely, I feel like, decentralized finance, DeFi, is going to be what happens in the future because of inflation. And mainly it's going to be led, well, let me bring up my next article here written by the same person, Crypto Adoption in 2022, What to Expect. It's going to be led by institutions. It's going to be led by institutions because for the most part right now, institutions are not are not really in the space. So you can see right here the predicted growth in Ethereum and decentralized finance. So right now Ethereum is still the number one layer one for DeFi, with the latter in terms of total value locked growing per DeFi Llama data from around 21 billion at the start of the year to 241 billion as of writing. So this is in like the decentralized. So one thing the commenters predicted over the previous years. All right, so this is what I wanted to bring up. Given that the new bull market driven by institutions appears to be emergent, it may come as no surprise to learn that analysts are predicting even more institutional adoption because of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies in 2022. In part, this should be driven by growing inflationary fears as well as by the increasing normalization of crypto, which is only going to see more and more, especially as we have different ETFs and easier, you see here, exchange traded funds, ETFs. That's going to be one of the biggest things that pushes and allows institutions to get on. You know, right now, some of the platforms, and we'll talk about this in a minute, and this is one of the things AllianceBlock is trying to solve, is that a lot of these decentralized finance platforms, you're watching this video, you might not know, hey, which platforms are the best? What do we get on there? How do we use them? Because they're not as user-friendly as what mainstream what mainstream is used to. And so having institutions be able to come in through protocols like AllianceBlock and then be able to provide different types of ETFs and give exposure to more mainstream folks, give them exposure to more aggressive protocols and more aggressive yields through DeFi. I didn't mean to say it that weird. Through DeFi and other investment avenues. So it's really exciting. And, just basically the overall view here is that institutions are going to be pushing that. So DeFi trends going into 2022, growing interest, regulation, and new roles, because that's another big key thing we have to look at is how are regulations going to be, how are they going to change things? So that's why we look at the ISO 222 coins. We look at the XDC and the XRP and the Quant. We look at those ones that meet those new standards, right? But we also want to look at like how are those standards going to be shaped going forward? Because regulation right now, if you're watching the crypto space, you know that there's not a lot of clarity. That's kind of like a buzzword these days, but there really isn't. There really is not a bunch of guidance on what needs to be done. So DeFi in particular, we look at things like AllianceBlock. They want to work step in step with regulators. They want to be able to see, because you see here, people are looking at alternative options of going into a bank branch to get loans. A tectonic shift is expected in how we reshape the DeFi industry to better meet the expectations of investors and regulators, and then DAOs might be even more involved in DeFi next year. So a DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization. We've talked about those before, and we'll get to that in a second, but we might see more new NFT-related trading pairs and yield-bearing products in 2022. So the cool thing is with decentralized finance is that these can be run by DAOs. So if you don't know what a DAO is, real quick, a DAO is essentially, imagine like, it's kind of a complicated topic, but just the easiest way to think of it is like, imagine like a company, and a company has like a mission, they have a directive, they have like a purpose they have a certain set of customers that they're solving a set of problems for. Well, a DAO is basically an organization, but it's decentralized, and the ownership is distributed amongst the people of the network. So they have a vested interest in that organization performing that mission. So say you had a corporation, but it was a DAO, that means that ownership would be completely decentralized throughout that organization. Who decides on what happens, the direction, that overall mission of that organization that would still be at the forefront of what they're trying to provide. It would just do it in a decentralized way. So I feel like DAOs are going to be the way of the future. So being able to tie all of that together is going to be huge. And so having these exchanges to be able to accommodate the growing influx of folks that want to get in here and mainly be able to protect their money from growing inflation. So it's only going to get even crazier. And you can see here in this article, I wanted to bring it up because they actually they talked about, let's see, this actually mentions AllianceBlock specifically in this article here. Let's see, I think I can't, let me just scroll to it real quick. Here we go. So this is actually talks about, as more traditional banking and financial services institutions realize that they can grow faster and serve more clients more efficiently by adopting some DeFi principles, we expect to see wider adoption and continued growth in DeFi. This right here, I mean, is super important to realize. This is why we haven't seen it. Mainly, one, because of regulation, and two, because more and more traditional banking systems they didn't really just understand. It was just a lack of understanding. They don't really understand how DeFi works, what it is, and to be honest, it's a huge space, and it's continuing to evolve. And so, as we see this more and more, the ability of traditional banks having to diversify just to keep up, just to keep their customers. So I want to be in companies that are helping facilitate all of that and doing it in a very, very compliant way. You see right here, other industry figures. Let's actually back up here. Bringing more real-world assets and financial products like securities on-chain will expand the DeFi ecosystem dramatically, attracting more investors and traders alike. DeFi offers more opportunities than traditional markets to earn yield from a broader set of asset types and gives people greater autonomy to build wealth. So one of the industry figures expect DeFi to open itself up to more than pre-existing crypto natives in 2022. One of these is AllianceBlock. We've been talking about this. Their CEO and co-founder Rashid Ajaja, who affirmed that his own personal experiences indicate that traditional players and institutional entities are increasingly interested in gaining access. So we talked about that. A survey from Core Data recently showed that 7 in 10 wealth advisors had spoken to clients about crypto assets, while a Goldman Sachs survey showed that roughly 15% of family offices worldwide have some exposure to crypto, and something that would not have been the case just even a few years ago. DeFi regulation will become a reality in 2022. So definitely this is something anybody who's watching the space is going to see and realize that regulation is going to be, you see right here, the conversation around crypto regulation transitions into action in 2022. We expect to see a tectonic shift in how we reshape the DeFi industry to better meet the expectations of investors and regulators. I mean, you see Rashid Ajaja said he expects that the EU's upcoming regulation of markets and crypto assets, which, like, I looked this up briefly. This is you can see here, this is just like the Council of European Union advances. So if you're watching this and you're in Europe, that's kind of what's going on over there for you. And then obviously here in the United States, we have the wonderful SEC right now. They're going after Ripple and just that large fiasco. But what essentially is happening is that, over the next 1 or 2 years, we're going to have a lot more of frameworks in place. We're going to have a lot more compliance issues in place. And AllianceBlock, they're leading the way. So they just launched a testnet here to accelerate decentralized startup investment. So basically what this is this allows, you see here, their decentralized funding protocol. It's going live on the testnets of major blockchains. So they're trying to bridge a bunch of these other blocks. So, by the way, side note, AllianceBlock is super big on interoperability because they're partnered with Quant. You see right here, they've had this partnership since 2018. So they can take advantage of Quant. They can basically white label Quant Network's Overledger solution. Side note there. But you see here, they just launched their testnet here to help accelerate decentralized startup investment. So the AllianceBlock is basically like, hey, if you have an idea for how DeFi, like a business idea in the DeFi space, come to us. We're going to help you get started. We're going to connect you to the big dogs in the space. We're going to connect you to big names and help you get going and help you actually, you see right here, the funders platform will be developed in the spirit of decentralization by gradually shifting the governance powers to the decentralized autonomous organization. That's what we just kind of briefly talked about earlier. So you may already have known what that is, but it's kind of a weird concept if you're not used to it, like a lot of the stuff is. So anyway, you see here too, expanding the interoperability potential of AllianceBlock Bridge with the cross messaging protocol. So you see here, ever since its release in early July, our fully decentralized interoperability solution, AllianceBlock Bridge, has been developed with a specific purpose, which is to become the industry standard for achieving interoperability as a one-stop shop for bridging ERC20 tokens. So imagine this. With this objective in mind, we've continued to develop the bridge to support a number of top blockchains. You see here Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, Avalanche, Polygon, Energy Web, Arbitrum, and Optimism. So they will be, now here's kind of what I'm suspecting. Because of this partnership with Quant, and we know Quant, if we're following this, you know they just released that they've developed their QRC20 token standard now. So if AllianceBlock and companies that partner with Quant, are they now, if AllianceBlock is able to bridge all these different ERC tokens, they're able to take advantage of that through the Quant network QRC20. So this is really exciting. Essentially, this shows you, this is how you know that AllianceBlock is going to win in the long run. Yes, short term, their price action, honestly, just recently, it's terrible. It just like really dumped with the overall market. You see, it was at like 60, just over here over the past 7 days. You know, we were as high as 63 cents just yesterday, you know, so, and where we are now, 50. So, I mean, it's not a huge drop, but I mean, it kind of looks scary, you know, over just the short-term period. But again, I don't really pay attention to that because I know long-term this is going to shoot up. I mean, right now, just with the market cap, $133 million, this is going to be at $1 billion to $3 billion before you can even blink by next year. So this is going to be, once things really start taking off and you see more and more of these institutions get in, we're just getting started on this. This is so exciting. If you're listening to all this and you are getting excited about the money that you can potentially make right now, not potentially, you will make if you potentially find the right potential companies, and that is what we're doing right now. So there's no potential about it. You get in on the right ones. That is the opportunity there that we're getting in on. So if that makes you excited, smash the like button. I really appreciate you watching this video because there's a lot of really cool stuff going on with AllianceBlock, just them being able to connect all this together. And what's also interesting to note here, with this messaging protocol, we will create a base layer for different applications. This will allow us to use gateway contracts for specific functionalities, such as the ERC20 bridge and the ERC721, which is the token type for like an NFT, and will allow different parties to deploy custom contracts and use a protocol without having to set up their own infrastructure. Now, this is important to know. The protocol will be governed by a set of validators and consists of the consensus logic and smart contracts on the supported chains. The consensus mechanism will continue to be based on the Hedera consensus service. So I'm invested in Hedera. I know if you're watching this video, you may be invested as well. Leave a comment if you want to see me do more videos on Hedera. I love Hedera. I've been in it a while. Definitely feel like they're going along. They're a 100-year company, you know, so they have a long-term mindset as well, which is what I like. So, like I said, smash the like, leave a comment if you want to see me start covering Hedera more. I know a lot of people do a great job on that. I've been researching it for a long time, so it's something I like to stay on top of. And, you know, I might just start doing it anyway. So, this is really exciting, though, because AllianceBlock, you see, they're using the Hedera consensus service. So, all of these systems you start seeing, they're all connected. They're all coming together. You see here from DeFi should be, from CoinRivik, DeFi should be self-regulated, says AllianceBlock founder. And this will be one of the last things I share because I know this video is getting to be coming on 20 minutes now. But you see AllianceBlock's founder, Amber Gadar, spoke to CoinRivik on bridging the gap between centralized and decentralized finance. And she stressed that DeFi needs to be self-regulated, but with rules created in conjunction with governments. And I agree. I think this is what's going to happen. Ultimately, it's not going to be where crypto completely goes away or where crypto is completely the Wild West. It's going to be a nice middle line. There's going to always be centralized finance. It just might be where the banks have to start offering more competitive rates. And instead of 0.6% in a savings account, probably going to have to start increasing what they give out, their yields, because of just otherwise no money's going to be left in the system. Everyone's going to want to go into decentralized finance. So I think we're going to see a bridge between risk classes and different asset classes, and just it's going to be all linked together through very compliant channels. And so that's really where AllianceBlock shines, is that they are super compliant. They want to do it in a way where they're working with the regulators and they're not just trying to skirt the law. They're not just trying to get around. You see here, AllianceBlock driving DeFi understanding in Swiss crypto heartland. Diplomacy and networking opportunities are ramping up to bring decentralized finance solutions into plain sight. So you see, AllianceBlock is among the first DeFi businesses chosen to join this association, which is honestly it's been a preserve of traditional financial institutions such as Credit Suisse, LGT, and VP Bank. So AllianceBlock rubbing shoulders with all of these. You see here, AllianceBlock says membership into the circle of Switzerland's most connected top-tier banking and traditional finance institutes underscores the growing institutional interest in DeFi and the desire for DeFi players to have a seat at the table. AllianceBlock is going to be massive. It's going to be one of those tokens where, man, if you are getting in right now on something, once they start seeing these partnerships take off, you will be so glad. So on Thursday, they're having an AMA, so I plan on digging into that and seeing what the latest news is on that. So we'll definitely keep you all posted on anything there. So it's interesting. We see here on the Twitter sphere wrapping up Quant you see this tweet here from Quant News, 40,000 Quant holders versus 1 million SHIB holders. Yeah, I mean, if you've made money on meme coins, good for you this year. I mean, awesome. Hopefully you're taking some profit. I always applaud when people can make money. I never look at it as, oh man, I wish that was me if I missed out. Awesome. I'm just going to acknowledge that you made good money, and I'm going to keep focusing on what I'm doing. We see here from just a tech guy, Quant is Metcalfe's law to the next level. All assets which are driven by network effects require the network to grow in rise in value, which is what we're seeing. And all of these coins like Quant, AllianceBlock, VXV, they're all working. They're going to all help. It's like a rising tide raises all. And any one is not just for controlling just one thing. Unless it's like Quant. Quant is just kind of like connecting everything. But they all have a purpose. They all have a mission to fulfill. And like I said, DeFi is the future. It's going to be where things are. So leave a like if this was helpful for you. Thanks for watching to the end of this video. Really appreciate all of you. Seems to be a lot of new faces and people coming in and watching these videos. So I really appreciate you guys watching all this. I really love being able to make this and share this with you guys on just really documenting my journey here. Hopefully just my information can help you make better decisions, and as you try to get through life and build up some wealth here to get ahead. So like I said, thanks for watching. Leave a like. It really does help me grow the channel. Leave a comment. I'd love to hear from all you guys, and I'll see y'all on the next video.